This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2132. The downsides to owning out-of-state rental properties and how to deal with them, by Joel of 5amjoel.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. This show is actually one of multiple shows in our network covering different topics. So if you like the idea of us reading articles to you, be sure to search for Optimal Living Daily wherever you're hearing this and check out our other podcasts. But for now, let's get right to today's post as we optimize your life. The downsides to owning out-of-state rental properties and how to deal with them, by Joel of 5amjoel.com. There are downsides to owning out-of-state rental properties. Some of them can be combated with careful planning and extra ongoing efforts, while others are simply unavoidable. None of my rental properties are even remotely close to where I live. In fact, the closest property I own is 1,463 miles away, just a cool 23-hour drive from my house. Distance alone presents some challenges, but there are many others I've come to learn about. Here's what I'm talking about. Number 1, you can't do repairs yourself. Last week, my property manager called about some damage to one of my properties in Texas. Apparently, there was a big storm that knocked down a bunch of trees, which damaged a fence, swing gate, and bent the gutter on the roof of the house. Luckily, no person or tenant belongings were harmed. My property manager already gathered quotes from contractors to fix everything, and the initial cost estimate is somewhere between $800 and $1,200. At first, this didn't really bother me because storms are outside of my control, but then I started to look at the photos of the damage. The mess doesn't actually look that bad. In fact, I could probably fix all this up myself easily within 1 or 2 days. The problem is I live in California and can't just drive over to Texas to do it. I have to fork out $1,000 to contractors even though fixing myself would cost so much less. There are many other DIY projects I've had to hire local contractors for, such as easy toilet fixes, simple paint jobs, or trash removal. I've just come to accept it as a part of being a remote landlord. Going forward, as I buy more properties, I heavily inflate the estimated maintenance budget when analyzing new deals. My purchase criteria for out-of-state rental properties has become much stricter. Number 2, keeping up with state and local laws. Another downside of out-of-state rental properties is local city, county, and state laws that can change over time without you knowing about them. If you own properties in 5 different states, you have to keep up with the local politics in each individual area. There are a couple of ways I stay informed with local happenings in the areas that I invest in. I've joined a local real estate meetup group for the county I own property in. They send out a monthly newsletter and recap of their meetings, including related town news. I set up a keyword alert on BiggerPockets, so I get notified when people are talking about my area in online forums. Here I can read all news, questions and answers, and comments shared by other local investors. And I call and chat with my property manager pretty regularly. I always ask what trends she sees and any upcoming changes I should know about. Small political changes can have huge effects on the profitability of your investments. Major employers moving in or out, new freeways or developments getting approved, city laws regarding taxes, etc. You need to stay on top of it all. Number 3, multiple state tax filings. This is more of a pet peeve than a major downside. Depending on which states you invest in and your ownership structure, you'll have to file multiple state tax returns each year. As a general rule of thumb, you have to file a return with each state in which you earn rental income. I used to be a fan of TurboTax and filed my own returns each year, but as my rental property business grew, I quickly switched to working with a tax professional. My tax guy does most of the heavy lifting, but it's still a big pain in the ass to file every year. And number 4, building trust remotely. It's hard to build a trustworthy real estate team, especially when doing it all over the phone. There can be huge differences in culture, religion, education, and business ethics between the city you live and the city you invest in. All of the properties I own today were purchased sight unseen. I relied tremendously on the local individuals I've built trust with over the phone. One book that helped me a lot is The Speed of Trust by Stephen Covey. This changed the way that I think about building relationships and how I can find common ground quicker with the people I work with. If you're considering buying some out-of-state rental properties and are worried about trusting the locals, read this book. Now that I think about it, another great book I recommend is Long Distance Real Estate Investing by David Green. It gets easier over time. If you want rainbows, you have to put up with the rain. Regardless of all these downsides to owning out-of-state rental properties, I still believe the pros outweigh the cons. You just listened to the post titled The Downsides to Owning Out-of-State Rental Properties and How to Deal with Them by Joel of 5amjoel.com. Investing in real estate tends to be a fast track to financial independence, but it does come with more work and risks than passively investing in low-fee total market index funds. Investing in the stock market has a much lower barrier of entry, and so if you're just getting started with investing, I would encourage you to start here. Contribute to your tax-advantaged retirement vehicles and get comfortable with investing consistently and paying yourself first. Build up your cash position and make a dent in your retirement savings, and then look to more advanced forms of investing. Again, this is just my personal opinion. Many people don't do it this way, but I consider real estate investing as a more advanced type of investment. I know quite a bit about money management and investing, and I consider real estate investing beyond the scope of my comfort level right now. As I get more comfortable with different ways to invest, I may reconsider, but right now my investing strategy consists of passively investing in the stock market and actively investing in my own business. If you're going to start investing in real estate, I think it helps to have a really strong cash position, as you're bound to make some incorrect assumptions when you're evaluating an investment property. If you play the numbers too close, when the unexpected inevitably occurs, you may not have the funds to navigate it well. Most people investing in real estate do it on leverage, or in other words, they're taking on debt or mortgages to buy investment properties. This adds a level of complexity because you need to ensure that your rental income covers the cost of the mortgage, property taxes, and insurance, plus maintenance and vacancies. If you're a new, inexperienced real estate investor, there's a strong likelihood that these costs could be higher than your estimates. So a strong cash position can certainly help in this situation. Then your incorrect assumptions become a learning experience rather than a disaster. And that's a wrap for another Monday show. Have a great rest of your day and start to your week. And I'll be back tomorrow where optimal life awaits.